I have been married to my husband for 12 years, a significant part of my life that has been filled with a mix of cherished memories and some challenging moments. It's funny how relationships evolve. When we first got together, everything seemed almost perfect, like we were a team invincible to life's hurdles. But over time, as the years rolled by, and especially after the birth of our child, the dynamics of our relationship have changed quite drastically. After my first child, I gained about 20 pounds, which I admit I have had a hard time losing. My pre-pregnancy clothes still fit me, but they are definitely snugger than before. Working from home, my attire has shifted mainly to comfortable wear, joggers and oversized t-shirts. Even though I prefer this relaxed dressing style, I make sure that I stay well-groomed. I have chosen to keep my social life quite minimal, dedicating most of my time to my child and immediate family. This is what brings me joy. My marriage, however, has encountered its own share of ups and downs over the years. My husband claims to be battling depression, leading him to smoke Zaza and cigarettes almost continuously. Add to that a hefty consumption of spicy content, and it's clear his lifestyle has become rather unhealthy. My husband's routine often includes nightly outings with friends to play snooker, leaving him fairly absent from the day-to-day family interactions. While he does manage to ensure that bills are paid on time and that we celebrate big family occasions, we're more like roommates sharing a space rather than partners in a loving, supportive marriage. As we fell into this roommate phase, which has persisted for quite some time, I found myself assuming the role of primary caretaker for our child. I manage our household activities and work full-time as well. Life after giving birth was particularly tough. My husband was unsupportive, giving me a difficult time during the postpartum period. He eventually started sleeping in a separate room after I refused to sleep train our infant, choosing instead to be up most nights rocking our baby to sleep. His absence became more pronounced as he prioritized his time with friends, leaving me to handle the exhaustion of sleepless nights and an infant's demands on my own. Returning to work added another layer of difficulty, yet he continued to neglect his share of family responsibilities. The resentment from those challenging early days has lingered in my heart, even though I made an effort to forgive and move past it. Despite all the struggles and changes, I endeavor daily to maintain a semblance of normalcy and happiness, being as active and healthy as possible, something that cannot be said for my husband, who drifts further into his detached lifestyle. After having my first child, I gained 20 pounds. While some might say that's a normal part of such a massive change, those extra pounds have stuck around, and I find myself trying, but struggling to shed them. It's not that my clothes don't fit anymore, they still do, but they're just a bit tighter. I've accepted this change in my body, at least for now, but it sometimes makes me self-conscious. On most days, since I work from home, I'm usually dressed in comfortable clothes, joggers, and an oversized t-shirt. It keeps me functional though, fully groomed. Even if my clothes have become more casual and maybe don't reflect the style I had before becoming a mother, that's just part of my life now. Despite the wardrobe changes, embracing this version of myself hasn't been too difficult because my social life took a back seat. This was intentionally my choice. Focusing my time and energy on my child and my immediate family has brought me great joy. I treasure the time spent with them and don't often yearn for the life I had pre-child. Unfortunately, my marriage to my husband has slowly spiraled into a routine plagued with countless ups and downs. My husband claims he's depressed, and I've witnessed his lean into some unhealthy habits. He smokes cigarettes without restraint, consumes Zaza continuously, and spends nights indulging in spicy content. On top of that, his constant outings to play snooker with his friends have made him notably absent from our home life. It's disheartening to admit, but what we once shared feels more like a fraying roommate situation, continuing on because it's familiar rather than because it's fulfilling. Despite all these setbacks, I'm not static. I am active, engaging in a variety of exercises like fast walks, long bike rides, and strength training. This keeps me on my toes, both physically and mentally, and helps me manage the pressures of running the household, raising our child, and handling my full-time job. If you looked at my lifestyle, you'd agree it's a stark contrast to my husband's current one. He, on the other hand, has allowed himself to slip into prolonged, unhealthy habits. He's put on a significant amount of weight and, ignoring any form of exercise, spends much of his time engrossed in screens or indulging in late-night fast food runs. His current choices have fostered an unfit and unhealthy lifestyle, one that he doesn't seem to be in a hurry to change. In turn, his choices have somewhat become my burden, and when I reflect on our partnership that once was, I can't help but feel a tinge of loss. This difference in our lifestyles, including the weight gain I incurred from pregnancy, has occasionally sparked pointed comments from him, attributing his performance issues to my weight gain rather than any concern over his health habits. It seems unfair, doesn't it? Despite me trying hard every day to adapt and grow healthier, while he grows more indifferent toward his health. Regardless of how I look now or the clothes I wear, my efforts to stay active and eat well are not driven by vanity. They're about well-being and mental peace. The extra weight I've carried since childbirth might not define me, but my actions and resolve to maintain my health highlights a stark difference when compared to my husband's choices. However, amidst all these daily efforts, passing comments from someone who shares my life, like calling me a bum for my choice in relaxing attire, cut deeper than any struggle I face alone in silence. So here I am, trying my best to ensure our family unit continues to function amid the imbalance. Despite feeling weighted down, literally and metaphorically, by my lingering pregnancy pounds, I know that continuously striving for health and maintaining vigor helps in numerous ways. This sense of awareness and determination provides me with solace, while my husband loses himself to unhealthy habits, detached from the reality and joys of daily family life that await him within and beyond those closed doors of our separate living arrangement. When my husband told me he wasn't attracted to me and casually remarked that I dressed like a bum, something inside me shattered. The sheer insensitivity of his words pierced my composure like a sudden gust on a fragile morning breeze, threatening to tear away the delicate layers of resilience I had meticulously built over time. This was not just any words tossed around carelessly in the midst of conversation. They were words that deeply undermined my efforts and painted a portrait of my marriage I hadn't wanted to see. In that moment, as I stood there faced with his apathetic demeanor, I couldn't bring myself to lash out or crumble. Instead, a quiet strength surged within me, compelling me to offer him an alternative avenue. I told him he was more than welcome to open the marriage if he desired. As soon as the words slipped out of my mouth, they lingered in the air between us, heavy with implication but spoken with a calmness surprising even to myself. My husband's eyes were wide and his face awash with shock, as if I had taken a step outside the expected dynamic we had both settled into. Yet, there was no remorseful backtracking on his part, no immediate call for dialogue or apology, just the astonishment of a man caught off guard in a game he thought he understood, but plainly didn't. What did he expect me to say in the face of continuous neglect, covered over with the thin veil of routine familiarity? No discussion ensued after my unexpected proposal. Our lives simply moved on as if nothing had transpired. Later, amidst the mundane rhythm of our household duties, I approached him with the hope of reopening the conversation with a clearer mindset. I earnestly explained how his comment had been hurtful, inaccurately reflective of the woman I strive to be daily, despite the inherent strains of life we both shoulder. Bafflingly, he shrugged off my words, once again feigning ignorance with a vague, "What are you talking about?" as if the initial conversation had dissolved completely into thin air. His dismissiveness only added salt to the open wound. Here I was, seeking validation not in the superficial sense, but in recognition of the hard work and emotional energy poured into maintaining the semblance of familial coherence. And yet, faced with denial and disregard of my sentiments, the toll it took on my heart was profound. For so long, I had justified staying in this seemingly endless cycle of unmet emotional needs and lack of reciprocal support, largely because I desired a family unit for my child. The thought of dismantling everything and challenging the status quo unnerved me. The risk of navigating a future without this tether to stability often seemed insurmountable. But now, with this latest episode, reality beckoned with uncomfortable clarity, the need for more than just surviving within the walls of a duplex residence, masquerading as a harmonious home. This pivotal moment crystallized the unspoken questions and doubts long dormant within my soul, urging me to reevaluate the metrics of love and partnership. Something had indeed broken, and in that breakage laid an invitation to reassess not just my place in this shared life, but my expectations, desires, and my vision of happiness for my child and myself. A silent revolution had sparked in my heart, pushing me to confront the uneasy coexistence with the shattered pieces of my complacency, and to navigate this precipice with courage and unyielding self-worth as my guides. Reflecting on the path we've walked together, I've begun to trace the emotional map leading up to this rift. Every emotionally unattended moment, every token of affection left unmet, a loop of unmet promises replayed in my mind. I always held on to the image of us as an unbreakable duo, but increasingly it felt more like a mirage, something fragile and easily dissipated under the harsh light of truth. In these turbulent waters, I found myself wrestling with the echoes of what once was and what is, how my memories of a happier past, days filled with laughter and a shared vision for our future, are overshadowed by the hollow shell of our current existence. Where there once was joy and mutual support, now lingers a waning companionship, burdened by the absence of meaningful connection. The weight of responsibility alone was never meant to be a solo endeavor. Yet for so long, I've navigated the choppy tides of parenting and personal desires almost single-handedly. The realization that I've carried more than my fair share often catches in my throat, consuming my thoughts with questions about the validity and purpose of this continuous struggle. Navigating through the labyrinth of forgotten intimacies and missed moments, it felt like a solitary journey to reclaim the essence of myself. In some dusty corner of my heart, hope flickered, an ember reminding me that pathways to brighter days exist, that I still wield the power to chart this new realm with vulnerability and renewed faith. Still, lingering beneath the surface was the gnawing fear of disruption. Could I reshape the environment my daughter has come to know? My mind returned to the resolve I'd always nurtured, a resolve crafted from the marrow of love and duty. Yet, with each passing day, it became more apparent that shielding her from discomfort did not equate to presenting her with happiness or lesson-filled life exemplified by authenticity. And so here, amidst the shards of all we've built and all that has yet to come, the true quest begins. Seeking the courage to forge a path that embodies more than sufficiency, but richness, beyond the veil of loneliness cloaked in familiarity. And amidst this internal tug-of-war lies the perennial question I can't ignore. What would you do in my place? It's clear that somewhere down the rocky road of our relationship, I lost a part of myself. Rediscovering it has been a daunting endeavor. Yet, there remains an overwhelming desire to ensure my daughter grows up in an environment filled with love, understanding, and happiness. Even if that means challenging the status quo. Each day feels like walking a tightrope, balancing between preserving a semblance of family unity and pursuing genuine contentment. Choosing to stay feels synonymous with stagnancy, but the fear of parting ways looms large, threatening to upend everything my daughter knows. The gravity of potentially altering her world rests heavily on my shoulders. Simultaneously, I crave a life of authenticity for myself, a narrative where my happiness doesn't always come second to maintaining peace at home. The road ahead is fraught with uncertainties, yet ignoring the situation is no longer an option. Perhaps the answer lies in carving out a space not just for survival, but for thriving. For both my daughter and me, independently and in unity. Her future, radiating with possibility, compels me to confront these silent tribulations with courage. So, as I stand at this crossroads, I reach out for your guidance, hoping to find renewed strength and perspective to navigate this journey toward a life resplendent with joy and fulfillment, not just for my daughter, but for myself as well.